This is the All Out Show on Shade 45.
We got Jesse Ventura here,
now,
man.
I got in trouble this morning. I didn't know who Eminem was.
Well,
I thought it was them things you eat. Ask about Jimi Hendrix, and I'll talk all day for you.
You want to talk about Jimi Hendrix?
Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, the Stones.
You must have been like tripping balls in the 60s, huh? Like just doing some acid and just saying shit.
No, I'll be honest. I've never done acid.
Really? How come? I feel like acid would be good for you.
Well, because I was probably Midwestern and too young, and then at 18 I enlisted in the United States Navy.
Okay.
And I don't think it's too good of an idea to get involved in LSD if you're serving your country as a Navy frogman.
If you're on a boat, you shouldn't be fucking tripping balls, basically.
For me, it was more underwater.
Wait, so you was underwater?
I would say I served 3 years with Underwater Demolition Team 12 and served 2 years with SEAL Team 1.
That's crazy, man. I like talking to you, to be real with you, because I don't trust the government, but I just don't trust them because I don't trust them. You have all these reasons.
Well, I do research, and then I write books because I love my country, and I think that the Democrats and Republicans are destroying our country today.
Word.
If you read chapter 2 of the book, I have some pretty good allies.
Yeah.
George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and John Adams all agree with me. They were all anti-political parties and said that political parties, if they got control of this country, would destroy it. We're not listening. We need to abolish the political parties. If we abolish the political parties, we'll get our country back.
But what about the whole election, like the way that we elect people like that?
It's our fault. Ultimately, it's our fault. Stop voting for them. There's alternatives, I'm voting for Gary Johnson, the former governor of New Mexico, who's running under the Libertarian Party.
That's what I vote third party every time.
Yep. And if more people will follow you and vote their heart and conscience, then we can get rid of these two parties and send them a message that they're... See, the thing I hate about them is their arrogance. They act like we work for them.
Yeah.
When the reality is they're supposed to be working for us.
But the problem is people are stupid or ignorant. And they just,
or apathetic, I think is a better word.
Well, I feel I fall into the apathetic category, because it's like, what do you do when like you're the only person that believes that shit? And
you go and do your job. You vote for that candidate you want to be president, and you've done your civic duty. When I vote for Gary Johnson, I voted for the guy that I most want to be president.
Straight up.
And it's that simple.
Straight up. Like when I was watching Obama get elected, it was like change.
There's no change.
Thank you.
I knew that would happen.
Me too.
I also knew he'd get blamed for everything George Bush and Dick Cheney did. I told my wife I wouldn't want to be the 2008 president for nothing, because people in this country have a memory of about a year.
Right.
And I said all of this, the economy, the wars, and all of it was caused by George Bush and Dick Cheney. Yet Barack Obama's getting the blame for it by the very same Republicans who know. You notice that Bush and Cheney, or none of them, were at the Republican convention. Why not?
They don't want any reminders.
Exactly. You hit the nail right there. They don't want to remind the people of that those two are the two that caused it. But no matter who you elect, Romney or Obama, you're going to get the same government.
It's the same.
Same government.
That was my whole shit. To me, it was like, when a product's not doing well, you just put it in new packaging and say new and improved. And I felt like that's what Obama was.
Well, it's what he turned out to be.
The same. Well, it's like, I guess this is my point. It's like, yo, bruh, like by the time someone gets to where they're at, they're in the pocket of so many big businesses. How am I supposed to trust them?
There's only one who's not. He's in the room with you. You know why I can say that?
Why is that?
When I ran for governor of Minnesota, I only raised $300,000. I made more money being governor than I spent to get the job.
That's crazy.
And I did that because of my father, who's dead. When I was a young teenager growing up, I came home one day. My dad was a World War II vet. My dad said to me, all politicians are crooks. And I said, come on, Dad. I was 18, then 17. I said, you can't make a blanket statement like that. They can't all be. He said, yes, they can. And my dad only had an 8th grade education.
Right.
I said, how can you say that? He said, easy. He said, because they spend $1 million for a job that only pays $100,000. So if my father had been alive when I became governor, I could have looked him in the eye and said, your son's not a crook. because I only raised and spent $300,000 and I made $120,000 a year for 4 years. So if my Roosevelt High School math is right, that means I made $480,000 and only spent $300 to get it. Nobody in the last 50 years can make that statement. Why do you think they never talk about my election in Minnesota? Because they don't want the public to believe an independent like me can win.
How come you're not still the governor?
Because I'm a statesman, not a politician. Here's the definition. A politician makes it their career. They get elected over and over and over and over, and it's a career. A statesman like me,
Right.
I get elected, I do one term, maybe two at the most, but I only do one. I do one term, and then I go back to what I used to do, which is what our forefathers had in mind. That's what the vision they had of this country, that you would get elected, you'd go serve, and when you're done serving, go back to what you used to do.
Right.
But not anymore. Now you have to spend 35 years getting elected over and over and over again. And all the elections are fixed for Congress by the redistricting. These two groups get together and they create districts. This is an all-Democrat area, this all-Republican area. There's no competition. They don't split the districts. Over 90, I think it's 94% of all incumbents in Congress get reelected every time.
That's some grimy shit, man.
Yeah, over 90% of them.
What do you suggest? What, like, it just
Stop voting for them. Vote for Gary Johnson, the Libertarian candidate for president. It's not hard. All you got to do is go over and mark his name. Won't cost you nothing, and it won't hurt.
That's just one person, though. Who else? Like, what do you do? What do you do?
That's a good start. Well, actually, what we need to do is at the grassroots level.
Break it down.
We need to stop putting gang symbols on ballots.
Democrat, Republican.
Or Republican. See, they make it that way on purpose so that if you're conservative, you don't have to know the candidate. All you got to do is walk in and look for the name Republican.
And you vote that way.
Yeah, if you're liberal, you look for the name Democrat. Let's remove them and put only the candidate's name on the ballot. That way it's imperative for the voter to educate themselves. What does John Smith stand for?
Yeah.
Now you don't need to know because you see John Smith, Republican.
Word.
So you're not voting for the person, you're voting for the gang.
That's some real ass shit right there.
And I know about gangs.
Yes, you do, huh? How so?
Well, in my previous still life that I'm living, I was third in command of the largest motorcycle club in Southern California.
No shit.
Yep.
How do you see the parallels between your motorcycle clubs and the
political parties?
Yeah.
Identical. Your first allegiance has to be to the gang.
Right.
Your second allegiance is how the gang makes money. It's
Right.
identical to these political parties. Their first allegiance is to the party. Their second allegiance is to all their big corporate donors that give them all the big dough.
Yeah.
People might be third or fourth.
Let's play some music. We're going to come back. We got Jesse Ventura up in this bitch. Sprinkling you with knowledge. I hope you're listening.